Thank you for joining us today for this unboxing video for the new game Leviathans. This game has been produced by Catalyst Game Labs, and it's an alternative history game of fleet battles. And as you see from the box art here, the ships float. In this alternative history, there was a discovery of a liquid that allowed large objects to be levitated. So this is kind of the science fiction and steampunk nature of the game, and so we're actually going to get into that more in a future video on the alternative history and the rules at a later date. But for right now, we're just going to concentrate on the product itself as it's presented in the box and what you're getting in the core set. So we here at the Williamsburg Legati primarily are a historical miniatures club. But we do enjoy our alternative games from time to time. It's a nice break from the rigors of our research for historical gaming. Gives us a nice little fun break. Nobody can sit there and say, well, that didn't happen that way. Well, we don't know, so we can't argue about it. So or debate it. So this is kind of a nice little break. First off, I want to say regarding the packaging itself and presentation of the product, nothing online did it justice. I think they did a great job with the artwork, with the layout of the packaging. I think they did whoever their artist was, I don't know who he is, I'll have to look up in the credits, but I think he did a great job. It's very traditional naval art look to it, and I think he just did a really nice job with it. It's a high gloss finish on the box. I think if you have a store, this is going to present itself well on the shelf. Hopefully you can get it out of your doors and into the homes of your customers where they can enjoy it, but it definitely will get your attention. I think they did a nice job. As we get into the box itself, we'll be discussing the miniatures last, so just, you have to wait around for that. But first off, we have this leaflet that's discussing products that are out currently, the British Fleet box, the French Fleet box, products that will be coming soon. I think one of particular note is the Captain's box, which will be coming out here in the future. This is primarily going to be dealing with new advanced rules, things like minimum ranges, clouds, crew skill, firing arcs, things of that nature. Also a fog of war initiative system, which I'm really excited about. I'd like to see how they work that out and how they adjudicate it. I'm not a fan of side A, side B games anymore, as I've gotten a little bit longer in the tooth in gaming. I tend to find that I just enjoy necessarily not knowing what's getting ready to happen to in the game and having a little bit of ebb and flow to it instead of just having a predictable you go, I go type of system. So I'm really looking forward to that. As part of the immersion into this alternative history, they include a poster here with the artwork of the different ship classes, from destroyers, light cruisers, armor cruisers, and to the battleships for the British and for the French. They are actually in this alternative timeline, the British and French are actually in conflict with one another. A little bit different twist on what the relationships were between nations at the outbreak of World War I. And how that all came into play, and so the game kind of twists things around there. Well, the alternative history twists things around, and so your initial combatants that have been released are for the French and the British. The board movement and ranging and arcs are determined off of hexes. These are 1 1/4 inch hexes on the boards. These are double-sided boards showing aerial view over water, aerial view over land. They're on a nice thick stock of cardboard, and they also have a textured finish, more like a canvas finish to the surface of the board, which I think is quite nice. Of course, if you have a table mat that is gridded to 1 1/4 inch hexes, you can certainly use that for play. It would definitely expand your play area, allowing more room for maneuver and so forth than the boards will initially. But hey, these are a place to start, and that's always good. Also in this section here, we have a packet of goodies. We have some flags and insignias that you can use on your models in order to dress them up and give them a little bit more flair and color. We also have a Leviathans novella, which takes you back to when this liquid supposedly was discovered and all the technological developments that occurred after that, and what led to this conflict and how things kind of twisted in their timeline versus what the actual historical timeline of the outbreak of World War I was. The next booklet included here is a quick start rules guide that allows you just to get into the rules, get on the board playing with relative ease. And then you also have the Lieutenant's Manual, which are the standard rules. Includes all the rest of the information that's currently available for gameplay. Like I said, the Captain's Box is going to build upon the Lieutenant's Manual and further expand the rules, but for right now the Lieutenant's Manual will be quote-unquote the advanced rules, so to speak, or the standard rules of play. Then this booklet here is more, from what I understand, is more of like a technical guide to the ships, the technology. Once again, another item just to kind of get you immersed into the alternative history / mythos of this particular timeline. You have some tokens. Primarily these are, from my understanding, are torpedo tokens for tracking the flight of the torpedoes from fire to target, and those are used, of course, on the map, on the hex map, or hex board, I should say. You have double-sided player aid cards that are a nice size. They don't take up a lot of room for you, so that's nice with summaries of particular points of the rules, so you're not having to go back and forth to the book. You should have things fairly summarized here, especially once you're familiar with the rules. That you just need a quick check, and that should be there for you. Over here we have the ship data cards. These have information about each of the ships, structural integrity, movement points, firing arcs, armament, armor penetration values, things of that nature. These are done and actually used during gameplay. They track you track your damage on the cards, and we'll be getting into these a lot more when we do a video for the alternative world of Leviathans, as well as the rules, when we actually will sit down and kind of break down what these components all mean and so forth. And we'll be doing that video here in the near future. So that's, of course, included, and these are for the ships that are currently available. Also, we have the ship recognition cards. This is just another nice little touch. Kind of presents the information like a Jane's fighting ships would present information about an actual vessel. You have a artist rendering of the ship. Then you have information about that classification of ship, history of it, dimensions, armament, and things of that nature, top speed, and things that allow you to kind of further immerse yourself in this new world of fighting airships. In this section here we have several items. First we'll get to the custom D12s. These are, on first glance, they seem to be normal D12s, but they actually are customized. The only two standard D12s are these two black ones. They actually are numbered sequentially 1 to 12. The other die have different numbering sequences on them. Like the green die here only are numbers 1 through 4, so you have 3 1s, 3 2s, 3 3s, 3 4s. So, but they're all a standard type of die, even though this, of course, is going to represent a D4 in the game, so to speak. But they're all standard D12s as far as sizing is concerned. You have two standard, absolutely standard D6s with normal pips, nothing customized on these. Then, which is a nice little touch, is they have some string available to to measure or trace out line of sight, line of fire. Usually we're running around trying to find this in your house when you're playing an hex-based game, but in here you actually have it included, which is a nice little touch. Now on to the miniatures. The discussion that was going on prior to release, early on in the development of the product, was whether or not we should have, they would include kits or actually have fully assembled and pre-painted miniatures included in the core box in the initial product lines. As you can see here, they decided on the pre-assembled and pre-painted side of things. I think from a standpoint of being a new game and in the interest of getting this thing out and getting people playing it as quickly as possible, I think the pre-painted, a pre-assembled pre-painted option is certainly appropriate. I enjoy modeling as much as everybody else, but I know back on my project table I got enough things to keep me busy. I don't need a new project to assemble and paint just to get out in order to enjoy a game. So having this done for me and just frees me up to go learn the rules and play, I'm perfectly happy with that. I can always go back, add washes, add dry brushing, and do some things to the models from their basic paint in order to give it more detail and more flavor. And certainly the models do have those details on there that will be brought out with washes and dry brushing. And so I'm looking forward to doing that. But for right now, I'm perfectly happy with where things stand. If you note here the differentiation in colors, the British ships tend to be this more metallic gunmetal color, whereas the French ships are more of a light sea gray. You also will notice that the French ships have a little bit more of a curve / sleek line to them in some ways, and the British ships are more utilitarian in nature. One thing I notice here too, a differentiation, is with the British ships, you have more of a traditional cylindrical stacks on these ships. Any ships during that period, historically during that period, would have had these type of stacks on them. So that's something that kind of tracks with regular history. But the French ships have these flared stacks, which are kind of different and differentiate them. Also, the turrets do pivot, which is kind of a nice little touch on the model. I'd say overall the assembly of the model seems to be fairly good. I don't see any initial issues that I would kind of bring up a red flag as far as the overall quality of the assembly. So I think that's perfectly legitimate way for them to have gone at this particular juncture. You also have the hex bases that are used for the ships for placement on the hex board. These are the footprint reflects the size of the ship that they're purposed for. So like here you have a destroyer, and it's on a 2 hex base, which is reflective of its footprint and length. So that is nicely done. There are additional pegs in here because they are doing rules with altitude bands, so you can have more of a 3-dimensional feel to the game. So they have additional pegs in here so you can build up the model for the purposes of reflecting a position in altitude. Of course, the battleship base, which is 4 hexes in length, reflects the footprint of the actual battleship itself. Well, primarily that's the unboxing of this product. The information I hope here provided was useful to you. I think from the standpoint of, people ask, well, are you getting good bang for your buck? I'd say in this day and age, I'd say so far from what I've seen, yes you are. I can't argue necessarily with where they have priced it. I know it varies considerably online and in stores for what their price point is going to be on the product. So you can shop around on that. But I think the overall amount of material for the money it tracks in normal circles and so forth. This, of course, for the Williamsburg Legati is our first box opening / product review. We are planning on doing more with this going into the future, so please check back at our blog and or on our YouTube channel to see what we're reviewing next. Like I said, we are planning on doing a rules review and then an actual gameplay video where we'll actually show a turn being adjudicated versus just the results of the turn, which is pretty much all I've seen so far online. I want to show people how the mechanics actually are working during course of play. So that's something we'll be doing here in the future. If you have any comments or questions regarding this product or anything else regarding our group, please don't hesitate to leave a comment on the blog or to just email us, and our contact information is located on our blog under our contact information link there on the site. So please just enjoy our blog. We try to keep everything up to date as quickly as we possibly can, and everybody has busy lives, but we try to keep up information, and we are always interested in hearing back from those in the gaming community or things that they're doing and what their thoughts are on things that we're trying to attempt as a club. And so thank you for joining me again for this box opening, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Have a good one, and happy gaming.